Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. I'm your host and NCLEX tutor, Annalise Garrison. And today, we're going to be talking about how the NCSBN Clinical Judgment Measurement Model will be replacing the nursing process model. The NCLEX is no longer using the nursing process model. All right. Now, I'm going to explain each of the 6 steps of the clinical judgment measurement model that the NCSBN is using in its entirety. I just want you to know that the clinical judgment measurement model uses recognizing cues that will be replacing assessment in the nursing process. The NCSBN clinical judgment measurement model uses analyzing cues and prioritize hypothesis will be replacing nursing diagnosis. And I am going to teach you how to critically think using the new clinical judgment measurement model, okay? People are reporting back to me that they are getting questions and they're getting case studies, and the NCLEX is asking 6 questions in regards to that case study. And what's happening is they are testing each of these 6 steps. So listen to me carefully, and please, I'm going to add this as a tutoring session in my complete package. Okay, so the third step in the clinical judgment measurement model is to generate solutions that will be replacing planning in the nursing process model. All right, it's very important that you understand this, especially those new students. This is going to be implemented in 2023, but I do believe they're implementing it now. So this is the approach I will be taking when I tutor. Taking action is replacing the implementation in the nursing process model, and evaluate outcome will be replacing evaluation. So the 6 steps in the NCSBN clinical judgment measurement model is recognizing cues, analyzing cues, prioritize hypothesis, generate solutions, take action, and evaluate outcome. Now, let me explain in detail each of these 6 steps, because the NCLEX is writing a case study scenario type question and testing each of these 6 steps. So let's go. Okay, the first step we have in the clinical judgment model is recognizing cues. We have to identify relevant, important information from different sources. On the NCLEX, they will have a case study scenario. Labs, vital signs, medical history, social history. What information is relevant? What information do you not need? What information is most important? What is of immediate concern? So questions that are concerned with this are questions that say most likely or most, those type of questions. All right? Now, after we recognize the cues, we have to take all that information and we have to analyze the cues. We have to organize and linking the cues. How do they all fit together? what client conditions are consistent with the cues. Are there cues that support or contraindicate a particular condition? Why is a particular cue or subset of cues of concern? Remember when I was tutoring you, I always said, why are they telling me the small details? So why is a particular cue of concern, right? And what other information would help establish the significance of a cue or set of cues? Now, analyzing cues helps you go and goes towards the nursing diagnosis in the nursing process model. That's no longer going to be used, okay? Considerable multiple things that could be happening. Narrowing things down comes at the next step. Prioritize hypothesis. Let's look at it. Now, when I was reviewing this to bring this to you, this is the hardest part for me to understand. So I'm looking at it from an item development point of view. How can I teach this to you? Prioritize hypothesis. The NCLEX is testing your ability to hypothesize, to draw a conclusion as to what the problem is, right? So evaluating and ranking hypotheses according to priority, urgency, likelihood, risk, difficulty, time, etc. Remember my strategy, stay in the now, not the past or the future? Well, that strategy in prioritization is part of prioritize hypothesis. You know the steps of prioritization: safety first, then neurological issues second, then physiological, then psychosocial. All this is part of prioritizing hypothesis. And the NCLEX is testing your ability to prioritize by using words like best, most likely, who should you see first, follow up, who's at greatest risk, those kind of things. So everything I teach you in the prioritization strategies and bullet points is part of prioritize hypotheses. All right? I hope that clears it up for some of you. All right, we're moving right along here. The fourth step in the clinical judgment measurement model, generate solutions, replaces planning in the nursing process model. Okay? Now, in planning, we identify expected outcomes and use the hypothesis, to define a set of interventions for the expected outcome. We already know how to do this. We already know how to plan. What are the desirable outcomes? What interventions can achieve those outcomes? What should be avoided? So, in planning, well, I'll go over it when I tutor you. Focus, the important thing is here that we focus on goals and multiple potential interventions, not just the best one. That connect to those goals. Potential solutions could include collecting additional information. So we know, calling, getting more lab work could be an answer for the NCLEX. But generate solutions. What is our plan, right? And I'll teach you all of this when I tutor you. Okay, number 5, the NCLEX in the clinical judgment measurement model is testing our ability to take action. For those of us familiar with the nursing process, this would be implementation, all right? Which interventions or combinations of interventions are most appropriate when you take action? How should the interventions be accomplished, performed, requested, administered, communicated, taught, right? Correct understanding of the teaching, documented, etc. Physiological needs. What is the nurse doing for the client? I mentioned that when I tutor you. So when I ask you, what is the nurse doing for the client? That means what action are you taking, right? Taking action, implementing. The NCLEX will ask questions about this and test your ability to do things properly. Let me just say, for how questions, I will ensure that specific elements from the scenario are what determines approach. Avoid memorized or textbook procedures. I've said that time and time again. The NCLEX is not a memorization exam, and this is exactly why. It tells me, the NCSBN is telling me that the item stem or the other responses should include action verbs. And we'll talk about that when I tutor. The reason I am telling you what the NCSBN board is telling the instructors to teach is so that we can be ahead of the game. I mean, I tutor, so I too need to be told what to teach, even though I'm not a teacher. But if we can understand what the NCSBN is telling the instructors to teach, we'll be that much further ahead of the game. So the sixth and final step that they are testing on the NCLEX is our ability to evaluate in the nursing process, which, in this step, the NCSBN clinical judgment model, they're calling evaluate outcomes, which takes the place of evaluation in the nursing process. It's still the same thing. So here, you should compare observations, observed outcomes against expected outcomes. We know what's expected. Now, did it happen, right? What signs point to improving, declining, unchanged status? Were the interventions effective? Would other interventions have been more effective? Item development. Pay attention to the item development. That's your question. That's why I'm taking this approach with this video. Item development should focus on the efficacy of the interventions, the efficiency of the interventions. Did it work from the previous items? So there you have it. For those of you who are getting case studies on your NCLEX, and you said you got a case study and there were 6 questions, but it threw you off your game because it asked you a case study question and then you went back to your multiple choice or your alternate format question, and then it asked you a question about that case study again. Well, what the NCSBN is doing is they're mixing up these scenario questions with your regular questions. The reason I need to start tutoring scenario questions and help you know how to answer these 6 type of questions is because they may not be using the questions yet, but the way they throw it in with the regular questions on the NCLEX, it's throwing you off your game, and some of you are failing, and we cannot have that. Not on my watch, dear Lord. Not on my watch. So, please take this serious and contact me today. I've been tutoring the NCLEX since 1997. I know what I'm doing. Please contact me in the information that's in the description. All right, you guys, God bless. For those of you who are new to my channel, welcome to my channel, and let's tackle this NCLEX together.